Back to follow-up segment tonight. We asked a very simple question of the New York Times. Why did you endorse John McCain on January 25th when you knew you had an article claiming he had acted inappropriately with an lobbyist? Now, the New York Times refuses to answer that question. We gave them 36 hours. Joining us now from our New York studio, Mildred Antenor, who teaches journalism at Seton Hall University across the Hudson River in New Jersey. Professor, I mean, this is not a difficult question for the New York Times to ask. I mean, our people have been hounding them and just send us an email, just send us a statement. Nothing. What say you?
This is purely economics, Bill. You have to understand something, that there was a time in journalism school with journalists that they were taught about fair and balanced reporting. They were taught that you have to look at the facts and check the facts 3 times, 4 times. That doesn't happen anymore. Right now, it's really about selling papers and being the first reporter to make the first page. That's really what it's about. And also when you consider the timing as well, now that McCain is the front runner, you have them putting this story out. I mean, there's something that you have to say about that. This story, they've had it since December of last year. It's been basically on the back burner. And Bill Keller, the editor, didn't really want to go with it because he said that, well, there's a lot of innuendo here. We don't have a lot of facts, and the sources are kind of iffy. But between the reporters, I think the 3 or 4 reporters that were actually working on this, they actually had a very heated meeting, several heated meetings with Bill Keller, and he folded, which is kind of interesting because usually it's the other way around. But this is purely economics.
Well, but I don't understand economics. The New York Times is going down the drain. It's losing circulation, it's losing advertising, its stock prices in the dumper. You run a thing like this, they all know every cable network is going to do it. Talk radio is going to go wild. McCain is going to go out and condemn them. Independents and Republicans are going to hate them. Yes, their liberal base will still buy. But you can't survive on that. The New York Times can't survive on that. And they put themselves up as the newspaper of record for America. They are the paragon of virtue. And this looks like a tawdry, sleazy, dishonest piece of work. So I don't get the economics.
Well, the New York Times, they came in with, I think it was $110 million in terms of their profits in 2006. And in 2007, the last quarter, it was $64 million. So certainly, you know, they were coming down in terms of the profits that they were making. But this is something that's tried and true. Anytime you have any kind of news that's negative, just put it out there on the front page and people will buy it.
I don't think so.
That we have to look at.
With all due respect, Professor, I think I disagree with you here. I don't think this is a moneymaker for them. I think this is, as Speaker Gingrich said, an ideological play. And people should know that the New York Times company is much more than the newspaper.
Right.
All right. And the whole company's not doing well, and the stockholders are on the verge of rebellion. Almost like General Electric. It's almost like the same thing. And you try to say to yourself, now, what do you think fair-minded Americans are going to think of you? Look, you don't have to like John McCain. You can vote for Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, but you don't want to see a prisoner of war, a sitting senator, a man who loves his country, smeared through anonymous sources on the front page of any newspaper. So I don't get this as far as goodwill, responsibility, and economics. I think it's a lose across the board for the newspaper. Right,
but Bill, understand something. This is not just going to be about John McCain. I think in August, September, certainly October, we're going to see a lot of negative reporting, not only on the Republican side, but also on the Democratic side. Whoever becomes the Democratic frontrunner in terms of either Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton, we're going to see a lot of negative reporting on them as well.
I'm not so sure. I agree with you. I agree with you that the New York Times now has to do a negative piece on Barack Obama. They have to.
Right.
And they'll take the Chicago Tribune reporting on the landlord Resco, and they'll probably bundle that so that they can say, hey, we're just not trying to assassinate McCain. We did a tough piece on Obama. I said that from the jump.
Right.
I said, I know these people. I know what they do. I know how they think. So in the next few weeks, you'll see that. But let's face it, this today against John McCain, how to hurt his family, how to be embarrassing for the man. You don't do that if you have any morals at all, unless you have the story. Unless you got the story, Professor.
Well, you know, they handled it. I think he handled it very well. He basically just walked away from it,
and handled it well.
He went on to something else. But we're going to see the same thing happen certainly in August, October. We're going to see a lot of negative reporting, and people really have to look at news with a grain of salt and not just take it at face value.
Accept the fact. Professor, thanks very much. We appreciate it. Directly